Hi, my name is Leah. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you a reflection on my year in Moncton, New Brunswick doing a dietetic internship. So I really just wanted to reflect on my year there. I had so many challenges and growth and changes. And so yeah, it's really just kind of a reflection for myself, or if you are maybe going through a tough year, tough time. I had all the things happen, including kind of questioning my career choice and where I was at in life. So I do have this video broken down into sections. It will just be me kind of chatting, so don't know how entertaining it will be, but I did break it down into sections just so hopefully my thoughts are a little bit more less chaotic. So first we'll go through the actual internship, and then Moncton, the city itself, finances, relationships, just personal growth, and then kind of a summary. And I have my notes here just so I don't forget anything, any key points that I wanted to touch on. So let's get right into the video. I just want to give kind of some information, context, and background before we get into each topic. So I was in school to become a dietitian, so I had finished my degree. And then in order to become a dietitian, you have to do an internship. And so just so you kind of know like my mindset going into this and kind of the background, this was my 5th time applying for internship. So at my school, the rate of acceptance for internship was around like 40 or 50%, so not super high. And so at this point in the year, I had received my final 5th rejection from the internships that I had applied to. And it's funny looking back because I actually made a video, and then part of me is like, okay, after 5, this is a sign that maybe I'm not meant to be a dietitian. I could still work in food and health and nutrition, but maybe my path is just going to look different, and I am becoming more and more content with that. And then probably about a month or 2 later, I had received an email back from the Moncton hospital saying that I got accepted into internship. So for whatever reason, somebody must have backed out of the placement that they got offered, and then it got offered to me, which I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being second, just because I had tried so hard. And honestly, when I first got the news that I got internship, I was kind of upset or like annoyed, I guess, just because I had already started to make a plan moving forward with my life without being a dietitian. And this kind of seemed like an inconvenience to go do a year unpaid internship. But I got on a call with one of my professors, and she's like, Leah, you got in. Like, this is what you wanted. So I cried after that phone call. and I was so grateful that I got in, and it was something that I have really like tried hard to get, my 5th try. And so I was excited to go in. That being said, I was also kind of just ready to be done schooling and working for free, doing things for free, and just ready to go into my career. So just going into the internship, I'll talk about it more later, but it was really difficult just in the fact that my mindset, I was so ready to just be in my career and to stop like not that I put it off for school, but just to be in my career and to work for money. So first off, I want to talk about internship. And if you have any questions about a dietetic internship, if you're applying or anything, please feel free to message me. I'd be happy to help out with questions about this one specifically, or just questions about the field in general. So I got accepted to the Moncton hospital. Now, internships are almost always around like 11 months. Some of them like will have more breaks in between, but the way it works at the Moncton hospital is it's 11 months straight through. We did get, I think, 2 weeks of vacation, maybe 3. I think it was 2. We did get a little bit of vacation. But yeah, it's 40 hours a day, or 40 hours a week, all the way through. Some of it was remote, but most of it was at the hospital. And as most dietetic internships, they have it broken down into different sections. So we did food service, clinical, which was the biggest bulk, public health, community, and we did a research project. And they only had 2 interns at the hospital. So usually they have 4, but this year they only had 2. And honestly, like, out of all the bad things that happened in the year, I just lucked out by having such an amazing intern colleague. So Mackenzie was the other intern, and she had actually worked at the hospital prior to getting into internship. So just having to learn all of the nutrition related things, but then also learning how a hospital works, because I had never worked in one, that was a whole other thing. And it was difficult, but it was so much easier having Mackenzie's insight. And she was really helpful with just sharing knowledge about the hospital and how things work. And yeah, we got really lucky in that we got along, because as interns, you have to do some projects together. And really just having someone that is going through the same experience as you is really helpful. I've got to sneeze. Sorry, I had a little sneeze break. But yeah, Mackenzie, the other intern, she was absolutely amazing, and we worked really well together. And I think throughout the internship, we kind of ebbed and flow on how we were doing. So like the times that I was really struggling, she would be doing really good. And then the times she was really struggling, I would be doing really good. So it was a good, I guess, balance to kind of lean on each other and share our frustrations and struggles and challenges, and kind of just have each other's back throughout. In terms of the actual internship, like if you are considering it, again, send me a message, but it was incredibly thorough. And just from what I've heard from like school internships or other things, it is one of the best internships, and I would highly recommend applying for it. The team of dietitians and the staff at the hospital were all just incredibly helpful. No one was gatekeeping any knowledge, and they didn't make you feel stupid for maybe not knowing something. They were really willing to share and to help you learn and grow. I will say it's definitely clinical heavy. Obviously, it's in a hospital, and you do need to be very competent in your clinical skills, which you will grow. But like, for example, you cover a dietitian for a few weeks at the end, and like completely cover them. You are on your own. There are dietitians like on board to kind of help you, but you're completely on your own, fully capable. So just know that. But it really builds your skills and builds the practice. And I got so much, I built so much knowledge and competency in so many different areas. And yeah, in terms of the actual internship, it was very high quality, I would say. In terms of how tough it was though, mentally, I would say that was the toughest part for me. Again, just kind of going into it already ready to like move forward with my life. It was hard to kind of step back into that type of education role. And it is different from school. You're actually practicing, and which is my preferred way of learning. That's how I do it. So I did love that piece, but it was still tough, being in an unpaid internship for 11 months is very difficult. I did work through internship, and the other intern did work through internship as well. I would say she worked more than me, and I think I worked maybe around like 10 to 15 hours a week. That ebbed and flowed through the year. And through some placements, it was a lot easier than others. Like, for example, I started in food service, and I think it kind of maybe set me up, not for failure, but I've worked in food service for a really long time, so that was a place where I kind of thrived and did a lot better. And so it was easier to work through that. And that one didn't have much work outside of internship. The other placements would have like assignments you would need to do at home, and they all require evaluations. So I found that took a lot of time. But in terms of the actual internship, I wouldn't say it was too much work. It was like all the other things, the stress and work and all that other stuff piled onto it as well. Oh, I also wanted to share that the internship, before you go into it, they give you a few weeks of prep. So they review like certain courses or topics, which I found was incredibly helpful to get kind of that review before internship. So next I want to talk about the city of Moncton, New Brunswick. So I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is only about 3 hours away from Moncton, but the last time I was in Moncton would have been like 8 years prior. And just briefly, it's a pretty small city and, there's not a ton of stuff there. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised when I got there. I found it was actually quite diverse. A lot of people from Jamaica, actually my neighbors were Jamaican, and a lot of people I think from that were French African and people from India. So it was really diverse, which was something I didn't expect and which was really cool. And they had a lot more restaurants, they had some cool patio spots and restaurants. And I found it was a good balance of, considering I'm there for an unpaid internship, I don't really have much money to do stuff. So it's a good balance of not being too lured in to do a bunch of things, but also enough to make me feel like I wasn't just in a very remote place with nothing to do. So I actually really miss Moncton. I felt like I had a little bubble, and maybe it's just because of my experience there, but I really did like it there. And the people were really friendly and nice, and it is a bilingual province. They speak French there as well, but I found, everyone was really friendly and it was fine to get by. The hospital I worked in was an English hospital. They did speak French as well, but there's a separate French hospital, so that was not an issue at all either. And then I just, I wanted to make sure that I did things that kind of brought me joy during a really tough year. So I went on walks. I went to the beaches nearby, which before the summer, they're free. It's unfortunate you have to pay for them in the summer, but they are really beautiful and well maintained. So yeah, I would go to beaches. I would just go to the park nearby and kind of either lay out or read a book or something. And I would go to the market on Saturdays. Oh, I would get the best arepa. Oh my gosh, so good. I'm still dreaming of it. And I'll go out sometimes with some friends, which I'll talk about next. And and also there was a yoga studio that had a few days of free yoga, and then on Saturday mornings they would always have free yoga. So sometimes I would do that. So just finding little things that were either really low cost or no cost that still brought me joy. And then just doing things at home like puzzles or watching a good show. Yeah, just little things throughout the year. Find the things that bring you joy and just try to do them as often as possible. Okay, next, the funnest thing, finances. So, oh my gosh, I really struggled with finances. Before I went into internship, I had tried to prepare a little bit. Now I'd only had a year between school and internship, so I didn't have a ton of time to save money for it. And just to preface, funding for internship. So again, to become a dietitian, you have to do an internship through an accredited program. And now most accredited programs are either the school that offers the program or a hospital. Those are the main ones. And now a student loan, at least the Canadian student loan, does not count a hospital internship as being in school, despite needing it for an internship. I could do a whole nother video on the flaws of the system, but yeah, so I couldn't apply for a student loan because technically I'm not in school. I'm doing it outside of school. And I couldn't apply for EI because technically I wouldn't be available for work. And I think previously you were allowed to apply for EI, but not anymore. So there was no really funding that I could get. Looking back, I think I would have gotten should have gotten the line of credit to have that cushion. I did end up getting a line of credit over halfway through. I was really struggling. So I got it then, but before then I didn't. And so before internship, I did build up, I want to say like around maybe like $6,000 or so I had saved, maybe a bit less. And I had a lot of work done on my car, about $3,000 or more work done on my car. I got my safety done because I was like, I'm going to go into internship. I don't want anything to happen. I want to make sure I have all this done while I have the money to do so. So I had spent a lot of money on my car and prior to internship. And long and behold, my car was just the bane of my existence in internship. I think I have blocked out what I even got done to my car, but I spent over $5,000 during internship on my car. That included replacing my muffler, trying to fix an oil filter, which is still not fixed, and oil change and all those things. Some other things broke. I honestly can't remember what they were now. Just because it was so traumatic. It was honestly such a struggle going through like these financial challenges during internship. And I was very lucky in that I actually didn't use my credit card while I was in internship until I got my line of credit, which I'm pretty proud of. I ate at home. I made things really minimal. I did work a little bit, wasn't a ton, but I did work a bit. And I was really lucky in that I did have some financial help from family. And actually, like halfway through, I ended up just sending my family a message being like, hi, please help me. And they sent me some money. So I recognize that not everyone would have access to that. And I am so grateful that I was able to get some financial support from family. And I have friends that would like buy me dinner and help me out too. So thank you to anybody who helped me, support me in any which way, not even financially, but just in any form of support. So yeah, finances were truly, truly such a struggle. And I'm not sure if internship would have been as difficult if I didn't have that financial struggle. Looking back, I'm pretty grateful for the lessons that it taught me and the struggles that I had with it. But it was tough. It was really tough. I can't even put into words. And even though I had support from family, it was still just that like mental load and piece of finances weighing on me throughout all of internship. So I hope things change in the future and that unpaid internships are not legal or you're able to get student funding for it or something changes. But yeah, that was my experience with finances throughout internship. And so I did, throughout the second, like kind of the end half of it, I racked up a bit of debt from living. And yeah, I'll be paying it off for a bit. And you'll see future videos on that next of me paying off all this debt. Okay, next let's talk about relationships. Oh, the lovely relationships. Finally a funner topic. So first honorable mention was Mackenzie, the other intern, of course. she really was like super chatty, super lovely, and I just loved hanging out with her and talking to her every time we would interact. She's just like a bundle of joy. She's so incredibly intelligent, and also like I know she's just killing it at being a dietitian right now because she's so good at explaining things. She would come up with these analogies that were just, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, she was truly wonderful, and it really was nice to have someone that was going through the exact same thing as me, and to be able to confide in her. And yeah, I really got lucky having such an incredible intern colleague through this internship, and yeah, I'll forever cherish her and our time through such a tough year. Yeah, it was wild. And then so moving to Moncton, I knew two people who had actually worked at a restaurant with me in Halifax and had moved to Moncton, and one of them was working at the restaurant that I worked at in Moncton. So I knew two people, two lovely ladies, and then I met another one through working at the restaurant. And honestly, the restaurant really was not only work, but it was a nice social escape. Everyone was so friendly at the restaurant and just so nice. I met a lot of people there, and I'll miss them all. But in particular, like I had three really close friends, and I miss them so much. Like they're what make me miss Moncton the most, because really just true, genuine, kind, wholehearted, like just the nicest, funniest, coolest people ever. And I'm so lucky that I met them and that we bonded. And yeah, I'm gonna have them for life. They're gonna have me for life. I already miss them. It's only been a few months, but I miss just hanging out with them and just good energy, really good people. Yeah, just the best. And then in terms of like romantic relationships, when I first moved to Moncton, I did go on a few dates, kind of with open intentions of either casual or a relationship, but I knew I was only going to be in Moncton for a year. I had no intention of staying and living in Moncton, so that was definitely off the table. And funny enough, at the restaurant, just a whole bunch of good people at that restaurant, you know. I did meet someone, and we were together for around 5 or 6 months. So like over like November through the winter, and I think around April or so, we split off. But it was really nice having somebody through a really challenging time. And I think part of me didn't want that. I kind of wanted to have that like trophy of, oh, I made it through fully on my own, all alone. But honestly, it was nice. It was nice to have somebody during a really challenging time, and I'm really grateful for that person. And it also really showed me what I want in a relationship and what a healthy relationship looks like. It was really just nice, kind, again, very wholesome, and very grateful for that time. And we like separated or split our ways. We're still in contact, and I wish him all the best. But yeah, would highly recommend if you're looking for someone in Moncton. 10 out of 10 would recommend him. He was such a great guy, and definitely grateful for how it helped me. Him and his family helped me get through such a challenging time. It was, it was beautiful to have these little side relationships and little things that kind of got me through such a tough year. You really do become grateful for the small things in life and just for the simple things and just going through tough times together. So yeah, really grateful for all the friendships and relationships that I made in Moncton, and anyone, even the staff at the Moncton Hospital, they were all great and really friendly and nice. And I will remember everyone so fondly, like for such a tough and challenging year. Like the people were really so nice, and I'm getting a little emotional just because I haven't really reflected so much on it, but really was like everyone was so great. Yeah, it was really, really touching how kind people were. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, I wanted to briefly mention my apartment. I did do a separate video on my apartment, so I wasn't going to mention it in here, but the apartment really got me through. So I did make a choice moving to Moncton that instead of renting a room, I was going to get my own space. And obviously it was at a higher cost. But when I was looking, like rooms were renting for around $500-$600. And the place I found was this within walking distance to the hospital because there was no parking. So you had to walk or bus. And it was $800, everything included. So I did pay more, and the extra amount I'm sure contributed to a little bit of financial stress, but the offset or the joy that just having my own space brought me, every time I walked into that space, I was so grateful. I was so grateful that I had the space to myself and to sit and be in my own thoughts and just have my own space. So again, really, really grateful for that spot. And even my neighbors were so friendly, and they would bring me meals sometimes, and I miss that place too. Turns out you do kind of miss Moncton if you move there. Okay, next is just personal random growth stuff. So very unintentionally, but I actually really improved my relationship with alcohol when I lived in Moncton. So I would say I didn't really have a bad or toxic relationship with alcohol. At this point, I wasn't really drinking that much. I would have like sometimes drink on the weekends or have some wine here or there, but not bad. But it wasn't something that I had ever addressed or thought of addressing, but I just kind of got to a point where even if I would have a glass, I just didn't like the way that I felt afterwards. And so I decided, I think it was maybe like halfway through internship, so around the winter time, I stopped drinking. I would only drink non-alcoholic drinks. And then I would slowly start to incorporate maybe like a beer, glass of wine here or there. And I started to practice ordering like non-alcoholic drinks out with friends or going out with friends and not drinking. And it was actually a really good practice. And it is kind of hard to do, even if you think you get like a little bit of shame or guilt for some reason for if you're the person to ask for a non-alcoholic drink or just not drink while everyone's out. And I found it actually makes other people really uncomfortable if you don't drink. It eventually, I was comfortable. So it's something I'm still continuing to practice. I now drink a bit, but I'm much happier with my relationship with it. Like I was able to go out for a friend's birthday and I had a few cocktails, but then I was able to order a non-alcoholic one as well, or just not drink. So just kind of challenging why you're actually doing something. That was really interesting. And so that's something that came out of it. Another thing that came out of this year was I really my vision for my life became so crystal clear. I am someone who's very creative. I always have a ton of different ideas. And I love that, but it was kind of chaotic. And coming out of this year, just like during the year, feeling so ready to just get into my passions, get into what I want to do in my life, and always feeling like I'm have to wait to do it, even though I was obviously in school, so there was learning involved. But I just became so clear on my vision on the specific projects that I want to work on and what I want my life to look like. And, that's going to change over time, but I did get such a clear vision of what I want my life to look like. And so the first project was the Plan Co. I didn't have a name for it back then, but just creating digital products to begin with. And kind of the Plan Co itself is just to produce products that kind of help you live a little bit more intentionally, stay organized, become more efficient with your life in a way that's kind of slow and intentional as well. So the first line of products is finance related. So it's a digital financial tracker, but future products will not be finance related at all. And yeah, so that's number one. But yeah, I really I grew an unshakable confidence in myself and what I'm capable of. I don't know how to describe it, but I did feel so different at the end of internship than going in. And it's a great feeling. I just feel very confident, and I feel, again, like my vision is so clear of my life. And so I am eternally grateful for that, despite all the challenges. I'm happy I made it through. So just to kind of summarize my year in Moncton doing an internship, an 11-month unpaid internship. I am so proud of myself. And if you have done an unpaid internship of any length, you should be proud of yourself, because it is really hard to work 40 hours a week, almost a year, for free. It is hard. It's hard to even prepare for it, even if you are financially ready, just to prepare mentally to do that. And I'm not sure if other people had such a tough time going through it, but yeah, I had a tough time. I really did. And I'm proud of myself. I finished, I stuck it out definitely about halfway through. I really considered not continuing, and I had to really dig deep to see if I wanted to continue, but I did. I finished, and I'm so proud of myself. Like, gonna get teary again, but if you followed me, if you talked to me, you knew how tough of a time I had just getting through internship. And I was also really, really lucky with all the support that I received. I wanted to mention too that, like, throughout the year, I'm really proud of myself for staying consistent through. I stayed pretty consistent with my routines with either movement, and it wasn't the same every month. Sometimes I would be consistent with stretching, or I would go to the gym, but it was always something, or walking. I was really good at being kind to myself through the year. I took the time to feel my feels, be sad, be happy, be present. I was really present during internship, I found. And yeah, I was very kind to myself. I was very easy on myself. If maybe I wasn't doing the best or having tough times. And I really stayed consistent with gratitude. I may not have journaled all the time, but I was always consistent with grounding myself in gratitude. And sometimes I would write it out. Sometimes it would just be in my head. I would be like, I'm grateful for, and say some things. But I actually found that really helped me through the years. So just kind of saying what I'm grateful for, even in a tough and challenging time, you can always find things to be grateful for. half the times it was just, I'm grateful for my apartment, I'm grateful for my view, I'm grateful for my family and the support. It could be the smallest, biggest thing, whatever. So if you're going through something similar, I definitely feel you. You're going to get through it in whichever way you can. And if you made it to the end of the video, it was very chatty, and I appreciate you listening to me. And yeah, I'm glad I made this video, because it was the most monumental year, one of the most monumental years of my life, and I will forever, forever treasure it, and all the people that were a part of it. And yeah, what a time. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much, and yeah, good luck in whatever endeavor you're after. So it's my first day, and I already feel like I'm working as a dietitian. And if you've been along my journey, you know that maybe I wasn't fully feeling if this was even the right path for me sometimes, just the way things were working out, or the way that sometimes it's portrayed of how you need to be a dietitian. But I had, even for my first patient that I had today, like, it went so well, and they were so receptive to my counseling. And yeah, it's just such a good feeling, and it just makes me so excited. And I'm really starting to actually feel like I will be a dietitian, and I am a dietitian, and I'm not just like going through and making it through just because I've made it so far. So I just wanted to share. I usually share bad news, so this is good news.